Thank you so much, Hera, for joining us from Australia at the platform of RESO. You already know we briefed you on about the platform of RESO. It's like exploring and expanding humanity. Our main theme and
Mhm,
focus is we try to
mhm,
look at research and academics from
mhm.
just trying to explore it and looking different
That,
experts and taking their opinion and what they think about developmental possibilities and societal issues.
mhm,
So that is the reason we try contacting experts, and you're one of that expert,
mhm,
and we're sure that our audience will certainly draw benefits by your perspectives, by your perceptions, the way you share with us. So thanks a lot once
mhm.
again joining RESO platform. So I would just request you before initiating the first question is the first question is tourism sustainability. Please define and let us know what it is to our audience. But at the same time, I'll also request you give a little introduction of yours, like which country, what are you
Mhm,
doing, what your position, your university, and things like that, so that
mhm.
audience would have that elemental understanding
First
of.
of all, thank you so much to invite me to share with you. I think it's a very great channel. I've been watching some of the channels that you had interviewing the other scholars, and I think it's a very interesting with so many various topics. And I think they are all very insightful and very beneficial for the knowledge development. So my name is Hera Oktadiana, and I'm an Adjunct Associate Professor at University Australia, and I'm also affiliated with the Trisakti Tourism Institute in Indonesia, in Jakarta. I'm teaching the postgraduate program for the MBA and also the doctoral program. And I'm also supervising the PhD and then also the master students in tourism and hospitality. So my background actually in hospitality and tourism management. I um, I earned my PhD from School of Hotel and Tourism Management, Hong Kong Polytechnic University, in hotel and tourism management, and I also received my bachelor degree in tourism from my alma mater, Trisakti Institute of Tourism, and the dual degree master of business administration and master of management from Multimedia University Malaysia and also from Bunda Mulia University Indonesia. And actually, I like to be an architect at that time or a designer interior because I like drawing and I like mathematics as well. But the pathway actually drove me to the tourism and hospitality, and I think I've been enjoying working in the academic environment in the hospitality and tourism. I worked before in the hospitality and tourism industry in Indonesia and also in Holland and Japan, but I think becoming a lecturer, an educator in tourism education, really fulfill, really satisfy myself. I really enjoyed working in the hospital and tourism education. So I think that's about introduction about me. And oh yeah, in terms of the research topic, I mainly do the research on the tourist behavior, especially for the Muslim tourists, halal tourism, and also for the tourism education. Recently, I just got back from Turkey to attend a conference on halal and Muslim friendly tourism. So when we talk about sustainability, right, it means that we want that we want to make sure that the tourism activities that we are doing involve the tourists, the local and host communities. Because when we talk about sustainability, of course, we have to think about the people, right, about community, social, cultural, environment, and also about the economy. And I think it's very important when we take concern not only on the environment but also on the benefits for the local community. For example, when I traveled last time to Turkey and also to Indonesia, so I went to Indonesia in December, January, and again in March, and then recently I returned from Turkey. Um, I actually observe right how the tourism sustainability implemented in the tourism and hospitality sector. And even when I choose, for example, like the hotel in Turkey, I choose the hotel that also promote the sustainability. And when I travel, I always tend to try or to use local products. Like I go to local restaurants, try the local food, and then also try to buy things from the local shop rather than going to the supermarket, international supermarket, because again, for me, the sustainability, you can do it even in the little things, with the little things, you can do it yourself to promote the tourism sustainability. Not just talking about the environment, but also to help the local communities or the host communities thrive. And then, of course, we want to make sure that the tourism can go for a long time without causing any harm. And also, tourism activities must be managed in a way that to preserve the natural resources, to support community, to minimize the negative impacts for the environment, culture, and economy. It's like, for example, when you are having a garden and then you plant some plants, you want to make sure that your plants are keep growing. You want to make sure that the plants will give you something growing well and don't get damaged. So in tourism, I think it's very important to promote responsible tourism. The practices for doing responsible tourism, not only for a concern of by the government, but also it has to be concern, for every one of us, from the host community, the visitors, all the stakeholders. They have to be concerned about the importance of the tourism sustainability.
Thanks a lot. Well said, Hira. We now have a second question. Just going to move on to that.
Mhm.
This is like, how does tourism contribute to the conservation of
Mhm.
biodiversity and the protection
Mhm.
of natural resources? Again, very important question from a global climate change perspective also. So
Mhm.
please throw light on that.
Thank you, Dr. Surender, for the question. So, when we talk about biodiversity, natural resources, right, we know that tourism, of course, when the destination have a lot of a variety, right, in terms of the natural resources, in terms of the flora, fauna, and everything, it will attract tourists, right? But of course, there is a plus and minuses. What we want is how we can use tourism to conserve, right? To conserve the environment, to protect the environment. How we can use the revenue generated from the tourism activities to fund, let's say, the conservation project or the conservation management. So in this case, we're not only just talking about having the profit. We're talking about the profit for the business from tourism, but also how can we use the revenue to promote, right, or to provide the conservation project, how to provide, for example, maybe how to provide like a interpretive signage, the guided tour that are very knowledgeable about ecotourism. Maybe we provide educational program. We use the money that generated from the tourist revenue, for example, to get tourists understand about the importance of the ecosystem, about the wildlife, and the conservation program. And then maybe we can also, for example, like the tourism operators, they need to be responsible. So let's say they need to implement practices that can promote the sustainable practices. How to minimize the negative impact on biodiversity and also the natural resources. For example, maybe the tourism providers or the hospitality providers, they need to think about how to use the renewable energy, how to use, to reduce the waste, conserve water, and also implementing the ecotourism guideline. Not only just creating the guideline and having a lot of policies, but there is no implementation. It's very important that it has to be implemented well. And again, it should be a concern of everyone, because when we talk about conservation, when we talk about sustainability, it is not only one group of stakeholders who are responsible, but everyone, every group in the stakeholders from the local community, from the visitors, government, industry practitioners, media, even the educators. They are responsible to promote the tourism sustainability. And then also to support local community is also very critical, because by providing the community-based tourism, we actually try to enhance the not only the economical aspect of the local community, but also to prevent or to how do you call it, to improve the social well-being, and also to protect the heritage, the cultural heritage, to preserve the cultural heritage. So by tourism, let's say people going to a destination, and then they learn about the culture in the destination, right? They hopefully they can mingle with the local culture. They learn about the culture. They learn about the food. They learn about the traditions. I think that's one way that we also protect the biodiversity, also to protect the natural resources as well. And then we can also create like let's say the conservation awareness campaign, among the visitors. Like for example, maybe like in the time when I brought the students from Australia to Indonesia, we visited the tourism village, right? Ciputu tourism village, and then students also learn about the culture, about traditional culture. They learn about how to the local people conserve the environment, and I think it's a very good idea, through education as well, from like a field study conducted to the students. So everyone actually involved and responsible for that.
Since we see a connect between biodiversity and then raising our possibilities for sustainable development, and also attracting tourists,
Yes.
and kind of expansion of tourism, which is like more climatological perspective compatibility, as for what I sense by your words. And now I move on to my third question. So this is like, how can local communities be involved and benefit from sustainable tourism initiatives?
Surrender. So first of all, we need support from the local community, right? Because without local community support, it is quite hard to implement the sustainable tourism practices. So we need to engage the local communities in the planning and decision making process for the tourism projects and activities. We need to pay attention to their needs, their concern, aspiration. We need to consider all of them, and they will be more committed if they know that the tourism is benefiting to them, to the local people. Of course, they will be more committed to do to implement the responsible tourism practices. And then we also need to create opportunities for the local employment and also for the local entrepreneurship within the hospitality and tourism sector. Maybe we, like local government, for example, they could provide like training or capacity building for the local communities. One of the institution in Indonesia, actually not only one, but several that I know, one of them including the institution that I'm also teaching, Trisakti Institute of Tourism. They provide training, training for the local people in several areas, like in several tourism village, to educate and to train the local community how to develop tourism products, and then how to deal with the impact of the tourism, how to campaign the tourism in a sustainable way. And I think it's very good because the program was actually not only conducted by the lecturers, but it involves the lecturers and the students. So students from the bachelor program, bachelor students, master students, doctoral students, they all involved in those community services. So they went, for example, they go to several destinations, and then they help the local people. They stay there not only for 1 or 2 days, but they stay there for like a couple of weeks. Sometimes they stay there for even for a few months to help the local people, the local community, how to create the attraction to their destination, but not only for the economical purposes, but also how to help the local community to preserve the culture, how to promote sustainability, and to minimize the impact of the tourism, because we don't want the destination that are over tourism, right? Because we'll be this is not good. Like in Bali, for example, yeah, Bali or Venice is already known with the issue of tourism, and it can create a lot of issues, not only for the environment but also for the local people. So I think education plays a very important part in promoting the sustainable tourism initiative. Also to educate the local communities, and then also sustainable tourism actually can create job, right? They can create job and generating the employment opportunities for the local people, the local community. By tourism, the local people, they can develop something, like maybe something simple from their own area. It's very interesting when at that time we talk about, me and my colleagues, we talk about the tourism villages in Indonesia, and some of them, they are very good, very successful. For example, like Langgeran tourism village in Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta is in Java. The Langgeran village was famous with the coffee, so not coffee, with the chocolate, right? So there are actually many farmers that actually plant chocolate, but with the tourism, they're not only just planting chocolate and then create chocolate. At that time, they didn't know what to do with the chocolate except just sell the chocolate like that. And then sometimes they don't know what was sometimes they got like little money just by selling chocolate. And then when they started to understand about tourism and the benefit of tourism and how tourism can benefit the local community, they started to develop chocolate, like a local chocolate, like chocolate bar, chocolate candy, chocolate, or all the food with chocolate, and they make a very interesting packaging. So the chocolate that they plant, not only just sell like that, raw in the market, but also they create a very interesting chocolate food, like a snack, and drinks as well, and then they sell it to the visitors. And I think it's a very good way to engage the local community. So at the same time, the local community also benefiting from the tourism, right? And also the tourists also appreciate that, okay, this is the local produce. We are not just buying chocolate from famous supermarket or from international supermarket, but we want to try the local chocolate produced by the local people, because the chocolate factory is not like like a big chocolate factory, but it's the factory that actually managed, operated by the local community. And I think it's a very good idea. The same with the coffee. Some destination in Indonesia, they provide coffee. Right, and I think it's also a good way as well to engage the community to benefit from the sustainable tourism initiative.
Great.
And one other thing is about the cultural event, because through a cultural event, heritage showcasing the traditional dancing, for example, that one way to preserve and to promote local culture, tradition, and heritage, because it's also part of the tourism experiences as well.
Right. Yeah, as per like my understanding, indulging students of bachelor level and then master level and also research scholars, it speaks more of a participative observation, which even like we study in anthropology and sociology, the work of Malinowski. So it is important because it's important at the same time realizing for local community their local product, their local possibilities, and exploring them in a much better and better fashion. So it is a wonderful piece of information for us to sort of enhance the very possible dimension of sustainable development, particularly in local context. Not once again, Hiraji, such a wonderful insights on this question. Now, my next question is, which is our fourth question. Second last question is like, what roles technology play in enhancing sustainability within the tourism industry?
So we can use the technology, right? For example, like making an online booking or reservation system, because online booking platform and reservation system allows us as the travelers to easily book something, and then of course it's reducing the use of papers, right? Because everything is doing online. This is also what I've been doing. Whenever I book, I just book online and then put everything in my mobile phone. Like boarding pass as well. Boarding pass is already recorded in my phone, so no need to print the boarding pass anymore in the airport. So it's also reduced the use of the paper, right? And then, for example, like the accommodation, right? Some of the accommodation that I visited, they are very good in promoting the sustainable tourism. They have like what we call it maybe like a smart building, so like automatic light, like the energy to save energy. So whenever we go inside, then the lights will turn on, and then when we leave the room, then the lights will turn off. And I think it's very good as well to save the energy, and like water saving. Like for example, of course, I think you've heard that some hotels they encourage the visitors or the hotel guests not to change towel every day, right? That's also what I'm doing when I stay in the hotel. I usually don't ask the hoteliers or the housekeeper staff to change towel or to change the bedsheet every day, because to preserve the water. If it's still clean, why don't we use it? Like for several days. Like 3 days or 4 days. When it is dirty, then we can change again. So in this case, we are trying also to save water, because we need to save water, because water is very very limited actually, and we wouldn't want to waste water for something not beneficial or something unuseful. And also to we can use like for example like maybe VR or AR, virtual reality or augmented reality. When we want to go to a destination, maybe we want to check how the destination is like, and then we can use the VR. I did that one time. One of my friends actually did an experiment, and she asked me, "Can you please put this VR?" And then I want you to give me the opinion whether you are going to visit the destination or not based on the VR, right? So I put on the VR on one of the destination at that time, and then it was very interesting, and I thought like, okay, I think this one thing that we can use, before we go to the destination, we use the VR to at least to have a feeling about the destination before we go there, because if possible, we try to minimize traveling that produce the carbon. Like when we are in the destination, for example, when I went to, let's say, Holland, or when I went to Innsbruck, for example, I like to walk. I like to walk or use bicycle, because by walking and use bicycle, you don't you don't produce the carbon emission, right? You also try to protect the environment. I like walking when traveling, because walking is healthy, and then also you just leave your footmark there. You don't leave like a chemical or anything that actually can create pollution. And if it's possible, maybe you can also, when you rent a car, you try to rent a car that powered by, let's say, battery or electric vehicle. I think also one of the good way to think about. And also we can also use like traditional mode of transportation, like bicycle, for example. And for the destination management and planning, there is also like geographic information system. This is to like to assist destination management in sustainable tourism planning and development. So you can also use technology to monitor the tourist flow and to identify, predict, how many tourists can enter a destination, so to avoid the over tourism. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we can use with the technology. And one thing is maybe online forum. We can use technology to create online forum to promote the importance of tourism sustainability. Yeah, and in fact, beyond the tourism sustainability, there is also like regenerative tourism, which goes actually beyond the tourism sustainability, because with the regenerative tourism, it's not only about minimizing the negative impact of the tourism, but also how we can do the thriving, or we can do the proactive approach to tourism. How can we flourish tourism? How can we make a regeneration, restoration, and also renewal by using the regenerative tourism?
It's like what I understand is like returning back to nature and traditionalization of our modernity is more important. Like you gave an example of using pedal cycling and maybe just
Yes.
walking barefoot. It is important always. It not only sort of helps us to maintain our equilibrium and at the same time the present changing scenario of global climate change, but at the same time it is more of a, I would say, elemental possibilities which human possibility, if has to blossom, must explore. So that's what I figure out. Thanks a lot for your wonderful insights. So now my next question, and which is going to be our last question, is the fifth question. It says like, what are the effective methods for educating tourists? I repeat, what are the effective methods for educating tourists about sustainable travel practices?
It's a good question. So it's actually by eco tourism tour. Let's say led by the very knowledgeable tour guide who can educate tourists about ecotourism, biodiversity, and also conservation effort is one way, right, to educate tourists about sustainable travel, and maybe also creating like a brochure, like metro virtual tours. I think virtual tours is also very good idea as well. To educate tourists, and at the same time also to use the technology, using the interactive maps, for example, and then multimedia content. Collaborate with travel agencies and also tour operators to integrate sustainability into their products and also services. Encourage tour operators to implement the eco-friendly tourism, green accommodation, and also responsible travel packages. I think those are the efforts or activities that can be offered for the tourists, so the tourists can be more educated about the tourism sustainability. One example, when I went to Turkey and I stayed in the hotel in Sultanahmet area, I think the hotel also implement a very good way to educate tourists about sustainable tourism, sustainable travel. Because in the hotel they have an app, right? They have an app, and then when we open the app, then you can see how the sustainable practices are implemented in the hotel. I think it's a very also a good way, And then they also have a bin, yeah, for the rubbish bin, and they put information. So this is the bin only for bottles, and then also packaging that use like plastic or glasses, and then this is for papers. And I think it's a very good idea as well, because usually in hotel they only put the bin, only just like bin, and that's it. There is no information. But this one, they put information. This is bins that you can put this material, and this is the bin that you can put those material. And I think it's a very good idea to do that. Um, and also, when when I went to the restaurant, it is good that the hotel actually use the local produce.
Mm.
So it's actually also to sustain the economy of the local community as well, and to support the economy of the people in the country or in the region. And I think it's very good, because I asked them, where do you get this this food come from, and then they said, oh, they are all actually locally resources, like locally resource. And I think it's a very good, to for that accommodation to implement the sustainable practices.
Right. Interview. Thanks a lot responding these 5 questions. They're very important. What I understand, like sustainable tourism and sustainable possibilities in tourism industry is really great, and we as society, global society, must explore them, must enhance their very dimensions in order to cope up with the climate change as well. That is what I figure out. As we already briefed you about the RESO platform is mainly dedicated for the expansion of academic possibilities and research dimensions. And our brand product is like international interviews and national interviews, whereas like we try to explore from different export people with different professional skills and dexterity, like how figure out different possibilities, in order to expand and enhance the dimensions of research and academics. Especially that is the reason we try to connect different experts, and you're one of that expert, and we are very much glad to have you today on this platform. It was such a blessing to hear your insights and possibilities and what you spoke to us, and I'm sure our audience will certainly draw benefits hearing and looking at your perspectives. Thanks a lot for joining us from Australia and giving your precious time. I know that you're very packed up, but still you spared out time for us. We are very glad to have you on this platform.
It's been wonderful to meet you, although it's online. And then I wish you a lot of success with your project, and I'm looking forward to watch your channel. I think it's a very good idea, because it's very beneficial. Of course, I'm going to tell my students about your YouTube channel on this information. And I think, and yeah, wishing you all the best.